Hello again. Half term's over. But that means Tuesday Club's back. Hooray! Are you ready for some more singing, a silly sock game, a caterpillar craft, and the next part of our story about the amazing life of Jesus?
Well, good evening, Tuesday Club. It's good to be with you again this evening. Got a song to start with this evening, and goes like this. You know which one it is? Words up there. Here we go. 10, 9, 8. God is great. 7, 6, 5. God's alive. 4, 3, 2, and 1. He's the King of everyone. God's the mighty, mighty Lord of all. Are you ready to shout? Here we go. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Blast off! And again, here we go. 10, 9, 8. God is great. 7, 6, 5. God's alive. 4, 3, 2, and 1. He's the King of everyone. God's the mighty, mighty Lord of all. Here we go. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Blast off! Well, that's got us off to a good start this evening, hasn't it? Okay, this one is Don't Build Your House on a Sandy Land. Okay, here we go. Don't build your house on a sandy land. Don't build it too near the shore. Well, it might look kind of nice, but you have to build it twice, so you have to build your house once more. You better build your house upon a rock. Make a good foundation or a solid spot. All the storms may come and go, but the peace of God you will know. And again, don't build your house on a sandy land. Don't build it too near the shore. Well, it might look kind of nice, but you have to build it twice, or you have to build your house once more. You better build your house upon a rock. Make a good foundation on a solid spot. All the storms may come and go, but the peace of God you will know. Last time, don't build your house on a sandy land. Don't build it too near the shore. Well, it might be kind of nice, but you have to build it twice, so you have to build your house once more. You better build your house upon a rock. Make a good foundation on a solid spot. All the storms may come and go, but the peace of God you will know. And God's people aren't super brave superheroes, so let's get those. God's people aren't super brave superheroes. They don't have muscles from their head to their toes. They're not gladiators. That's easy to see. In fact, it's amazing. They're just like you and me, sometimes scared, shaking and shivering. See how we go. Here we go. God's people aren't super brave superheroes. They don't have muscles from their head to their toes. They're not gladiators, that's easy to see. In fact, it's amazing. They're just like you and me. Sometimes scared, shaking and shivering. But let's realize we've God on our side. He can do absolutely anything. God's people aren't super brave superheroes. They don't have muscles from their head to their toes. They're not gladiators, that's easy to see. In fact, it's amazing. They're just like you and me. One more time. Sometimes scared, shaking and shivering. But let's realize we've God on our side. He like you and me. Sit down.
Hi Tuesday Club, hope you've had a good half term, and tonight we've got the silly sock game. Now you might say to yourself socks are boring, but they're not. You could have skiing socks, or walking socks, or stripy socks, or long socks, or Christmas socks, or sports socks, or those are stripy socks again, or trainer socks, so many different types of socks. Well, tonight we're going to play a game where we think of our socks and we use them to make different things. So you'll need a pair of socks, and the first thing you need to do is push your hand all the way into the end of your sock and give your sock a nice mouth so he can be a puppet. And he needs to tell a joke. Knock knock, who's there? Socky, socky who? Oh, that one wasn't a very good one. Okay, the next thing you need to do is you need two socks together, and you might be quite good at doing this anyway, but you put the tops together and you fold them over, and then you keep pushing the sock in until the whole sock has disappeared inside what would be the ankle bit. And now you've got yourself a nice ball. You can play catch. How many catches can you do? Okay, have you made yourself a good ball? You might be able to make 3 of these and do some juggling. Okay, so that's the ball. Oh, the next one. Now this might be easy with a long sock, but a sock makes quite a good skipping rope. Can you use it to be a skipping rope? Yes, okay, I'm cheating. But you might be able to do it. You might have an even longer sock than I have. Now to deal with the lack of haircuts, what you might need is a nice hairband sock. So this one's just long enough. There we go. That's not too bad, is it? Well, maybe you think it's terrible. Now I think the folks at home will like this one. So you put your hand through right to the end of your sock, and you've made a very good duster. And then you can start seeing if you can find any dust anywhere. So go along the tables, up on the tops, open the doors, give it a good old dust. You see, that's a great use for socks. Maybe when you take them off at night, you could do a little dusting. Okay, yes, the next one. Now I hope you're remembering to do this, even though you're not seeing so many people. It's very important to keep washing. And I'd like to see you wash your face. So you might be able to put 2 socks on, and these are pretty good as a flannel. So get your hands, get some nice soap on that, and then wash your face. Yeah, make sure you do all round everywhere, behind the ears, back of the neck. Flannels. Who said socks were boring? My next one. Take your sock and fold it so that it's nice and flat. There we go. Now, this one looks like one of those sleep masks. Are you keeping up with me? Have you done all these sock things? We've got 3 more to go. 2 foodie ones. Okay, so we're back to the trick where you have your 2 socks. Whoops. 2 socks. And you hold the bit where the ankle goes together and you roll it into itself. Okay, and now you've made a nice lump of ice cream. What flavour's yours? I think mine's white chocolate. Very nice. Another food one. Okay, I'm not sure. I think this probably works with a slightly longer sock, but you'll be fine with whatever sock. So put it round your hand and roll it round your hand like this, and then tuck the ends in. And you've made a rather tasty donut. Maybe some sprinkles on that. Life without Jesus is like a donut. There's a hole in the middle of your heart. And the last one. Can you use a sock to be a propeller? How many times can you spin it round until you finally take off? Maybe you have to stand on this chair and use your propeller to make you take off. One that was too dangerous for Tuesday Club was you can put a golf ball in the bottom of your sock, and then you can swing it round and throw it as far as you can. Okay, but I didn't do that one. I might break something in the kitchen. Okay, great to have you with us, Tuesday Club. Fun to play a sock game. Don't ever think socks are boring. Okay, bye for now. Hello Tuesday Club. Now, carrying on with our theme of socks, we have a super speedy, no sewing caterpillar craft. Here he is, or she is. And to make them, you will need some rubber bands, a sock obviously, and something round that's going to make the parts for the body. So I think that might be a table tennis ball, and that might be a bouncy ball, and I've got a plastic egg in there as well. But you could use scrumpled up paper, or you could use maybe some clementines. And you also need, for the eyes, you need either a sticky address label, or maybe you've got some googly eyes that you've got for craft anyway. So you simply, oh sorry, and one more thing, for the antennae, it would be nice if you could find a pipe cleaner, but I don't think you would need one. So you slot the first one in, and then you just get your rubber band and you twist it round and round and round until it's well, oops, well that wasn't a good one. Let's try this one. Until it's well held in there, and then you put the next one in and drop it in. There we go, and you can see the segments of its body appearing, and that might be a bit small. There we go, let's try this one. And you just twist it round and round and round. I won't show you all of it because, as you can see, it takes a little bit of time, and you can see, you get the idea, and then you feed the next circular object you've got in until you've got a nice caterpillar shape there with all its segments. And then you want to decorate the face with your by cutting out 2 little circles out of your address label, or sticking on your googly eyes, and that's pretty much it. And then you can maybe make a little film with your snakes. You could even take some photos and send them in to us. Show us what you've made. Okay, I hope you've had a good sock evening, and it's been great to have you. When you take off your socks, or you next are putting away your socks, you need to have a think about all those wonderful things you can do with socks. Okay, it's been great to have you at Tuesday Club. Bye for now.
Good evening, boys and girls. My name's Liv, and I'm very excited to be with you for my first ever Tuesday Club. I want to start by asking you guys a question. Has someone you know ever proved something to you? For example, it may have been in the playground when one of your friends claimed that they could run faster than you. You needed proof, so you raced. If they won that race, they proved that what they said was true, that they could run faster than you. Well, in today's story, boys and girls, Jesus proves that he is who he says he is. So first things first, Jesus tells us who he is. He does this by asking his disciples who they thought he was. If anyone could claim to know Jesus, it was these men. They knew him personally and closely, and they had witnessed his miracles and his teaching firsthand. So who do they say he is? Well, Peter speaks on their behalf. So what does Peter say? Does Peter say, Jesus, you're a nice chap and I'm really chuffed to be your friend? No, that's not what Peter said. Or does Peter say, oh, Jesus, you're Mary and Joseph's kid? No, again, that's not what Peter said. No, Peter says that Jesus is the Messiah and the Son of the living God. Cool, nice. The Messiah and the Son of the living God. Sounds like a good answer. And I mean, Jesus seems to think so too. He says that this knowledge makes Peter blessed, which means favoured by God. Declaring that Jesus is the Messiah and the Son of the living God makes Peter favoured by God. Except, what does this actually mean, being the Messiah and the Son of the living God? Peter's kind of jammed a lot of information in there and a few big words. So first off, what actually is the Messiah? Well, Throughout the Old Testament, God had promised to send someone to save and lead his people, the Jews. This person would be the Messiah. He was God's Saviour King, sent to deliver God's people from their enemies and to establish God's kingdom on earth. The Messiah was a very, very big deal for the Jewish people. They had been waiting for him to deliver and save them for centuries. Peter also says that Jesus is the Son of the living God. So just think about that for a second. It's a mind-boggling claim. Jesus is the one and only Son of God. Now, you are all sons and daughters. You might have been told that you look like your mum, or that you have your dad's eyes. Well, Jesus has the very same nature as God. Jesus alone is God's divine Son. So you see, boys and girls, Peter's claim shows that Jesus is kind of a big deal. In fact, he's a huge deal, the biggest deal. And what happens next proves this. Jesus proves that he really is this much of a big deal, that he really is the Messiah and the Son of the living God. So a few days after this conversation, Jesus takes Peter, James, and John up a mountain. On this mountainside, something absolutely incredible happens. Jesus' appearance completely changes. He is completely transformed. His face shines like the sun itself. His clothes become as white as light. He is brilliant, bright, breathtaking, glorious, magnificent, splendid. He is showing his disciples that he is God. And suddenly, Moses is standing right next to Jesus. Now, I don't know how the disciples recognized that it was Moses, but it was just so clearly Moses. Yes, the same Moses who had brought God's people out of slavery and who had received the 10 Commandments from God. But there was someone else there too. And it was Elijah, the famous prophet they had heard so much about and who had died centuries before. He was there, shining too. Now, boys and girls, I want to pause the story for a second and make you think of a time you have met someone famous or someone you admire. It could be a football player, an actor, a singer, or even someone in the year above at school who you think is quite cool. So do you remember a time? If you can't think of one, imagine what you would do if you bumped into someone you admire on your next walk. I don't know about you, but whenever I've met a famous role model, I tend to fumble over my words and act like a bit of a wally. Well, in our story, Peter does exactly this when he sees this spectacular scene. Completely overwhelmed by how awesome Jesus is, Peter scrambles for something to say. And what does he come out with? Does he say, "Behold, the foretold Messiah, the Saviour of Israel"? No. Well, maybe a better option would have been to stay quiet and think, wow, Jesus really is who he says he is. But no, that's not what Peter does either. No, Peter is just so baffled and amazed that all he comes out with is, "Would you like me to build you some tents?" Pardon, Peter? What was that? 3 tents. I can build you guys 3 tents. Peter is clearly in complete and utter awe of Jesus. He wants to mark the occasion with a memorial, the tents, but in his amazement he sounds a little bit silly. Anyway, while Peter is chatting nonsense, a bright cloud covers them all. From this cloud comes a clear and strong voice. "This is my Son, whom I love. With him I am well pleased. Listen to him." Wow. With the same words he had used at Jesus' baptism, God the Father declares that Jesus is his Son. So do you see, boys and girls? On the mountainside, Jesus shows Peter that his answer to the question, "Who is Jesus?" is correct. Jesus, it truly is the Messiah and the Son of the living God. The Old Testament figures, Moses and Elijah, show that Jesus is the Messiah that the Old Testament spoke about. And God himself said that Jesus is his beloved Son. And there's no arguing with that. So this is overwhelming and mind-boggling stuff. And the disciples, quite understandably, respond by falling to the floor in fear. At this point, Jesus comes up to them, touches them, and says, "Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid." I love this moment because, yes, Jesus is God's rescuing leader. Yes, Jesus is God's beloved Son. Yes, Jesus is God. And yes, Jesus is still deeply compassionate and loving. He cares for his disciples very, very tenderly. So, boys and girls, in today's story, Jesus has shown us exactly who he is. He is both Messiah and God's Son. He is strong, powerful, and loving. And he has proved it. Is this who you say Jesus is, boys and girls? Do you agree with Peter and think that Jesus is the biggest deal? That he is the Messiah and the Son of God? Why not spend some time this week thinking through who Jesus is and what we can learn about him from today's story? Just as we finish off, I'm going to say a quick prayer before we hand over. Thank you, Lord Jesus, that you have shown us so much of who you are. Thank you that you are the Messiah and the Son of the living God, and that we can put our trust in you. Amen. Bye-bye. So today's memory verse, boys and girls, is Matthew 16, verse 16. And it's what Peter answers when Jesus asks him, "Who do you say I am?" So can you remember from our story what he says? Don't worry if you can't, I've got it written down here. So it says, Peter says, "You are the Messiah, the Son of the living God." He says that Jesus is the Messiah, the Son of the living God. Matthew 16, verse 16. So if you want to read this with me, you are the Messiah, the Son of the living God. Okay, we're going to say it together a few more times, and then I'm going to ask you to fill in some gaps which I leave, okay? So, reading it together. You are the Messiah, the Son of the living God. Matthew 16, 16. And again, you are the Messiah, the Son of the living God. Matthew 16, verse 16. Okay, I'm going to now cover up some of the verse, and you are going to tell me what the bit that is covered is, okay? So, the first bit. You are the... Do you remember what he is? The Messiah, that's right. Okay, and now the next bit. The Son of the living God, that's right. Okay, so there's two bits you need to remember. You are the Messiah, the Son of the living God, and then the verse number, Matthew 16, 16. So, one more time together. You are the Messiah, the Son of the living God, Matthew 16, 16. Right, thanks guys.
Hi everyone, time for another of Julian's illusions where I show you a magic trick that you can copy. And today I'm thinking of a trick involving levitation. Do you know what levitation means? It means making something float in the air without anything obviously supporting it. Yeah. And there's a trick that magicians often do where they have a glamorous assistant come and lie on a board between two chairs or on a table or something like that. And then when the glamorous assistant is lying there, he waves his arms about a bit and says some magic words, and the woman seems to just slightly float off the table or off the board, and then they take the table or the board away, and the woman is still just like floating there in the air. To make the trick more exciting, sometimes they have some sharp, spiky things on the floor, but the woman doesn't usually fall on them. So to do this magic trick, you're going to need a board between two chairs or a table and a glamorous assistant. For some reason, Lucy's not keen on being my glamorous assistant, but so I'm going to have to use Teddy instead. And maybe you've got a brother or sister or friend who could be your glamorous assistant, yeah? Perhaps you can look around to find some sharp, spiky objects like, big nails or sharp kitchen forks, that kind of thing. Oh no. It looks like your parents are concerned about brothers or sisters or friends floating above sharp, spiky objects. Oh dear, I'm going to have to think of another trick to show you. I do know another trick that involves levitation. Much safer because it doesn't have any sharp, spiky objects in it, just cards. And I've got some Uno cards here, but you could use any kind of card really. Pokemon, Monopoly Deal, or ordinary playing cards, yeah? And you ask a friend to choose one of the cards from somewhere in the middle, but I haven't got a friend here to choose, so I'm going to use some dice to choose the card for me. I'm going to add up the numbers, and then we'll pick that card. So I've got 6 and 4 makes 10, and 5 makes 15, another 5 makes 20, another 2 makes 22, yeah? So I'm going to count up 22 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. So the 22nd card I've got here is the blue 6. Yeah. Okay, so I've got a blue 6. That's my 22nd card. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to quickly shuffle these cards a bit. Okay. And not very good at shuffling, so we'll try this method, shall we? Do it that way. Yeah, put them in there. Good. Should we do one more of those trifles, more of those fancy shuffles that I can't do very well? Okay, right. Let's just push them all together. Yeah. So we've got a pack of cards here now. And we want to see whether we can make the blue 6 levitate, yeah? So I'm just going to put my finger above the pack of cards, and hopefully the number 6 will levitate for us. Yes, number 6 is levitating. The blue 6 levitates for me. Yeah. Did you like that trick? I'll show you how to do it. So first we had the cards all spread out, didn't we? And we chose one of them. Didn't really matter which card we chose, yeah? Let's choose the number, this time we'll choose the red 2, yeah? Okay. But I'm very careful how I put the cards back after I've chosen the card. So I make sure this card is underneath one pack of cards, and then I get the other pack of cards. Yeah, and I'm going to shuffle them. Now, because I was careful about where I put the card I want is at the back of one hand of cards, yeah? Then when I shuffle them, I say I can't shuffle very well, but actually what's happening here is I'm making sure that this card always is the last card to be on the top, yeah? When I shuffle like that. Because it's not a real shuffle. You see, you notice it's still on the back of the pack, yeah. And then I do some other kind of shuffling there, but I'm very careful not to make sure no other cards go at the back of the pack, because the 6 I want is the red 2 that I want is still at the back of the pack. Now it might be that you don't want to bother with all that card selection and fake shuffling and so on. You just want to show your friend how to make a card levitate. So let's just do the last bit of the trick, show you how that works, yeah? Did you notice that I licked my finger, my little finger, before I showed it levitating? Because what's going to happen is the card will come up. And the reason it comes up because the little finger that I licked is actually pushing it up. Can you see what's happening there? My little finger is pushing the card up. And that's how we make the card levitate. Yeah. Hope you enjoyed that trick. And yeah, time has run out, so it's time to say goodbye. So from all of us here at Tuesday Club, bye and see you another week. Bye.